So we're going to go over today about the advancements in radiology. Most people think that we are using less radiation because of advancements in how we actually are creating X-ray. The X-ray tube itself, this thing has not changed. The exterior has changed, sure, and we've made it look nicer and fancier, but otherwise the main thing that's changed is how we have recorded the information. So way back in the day, way back before my day, do not even try me, okay? So we actually, this is like Rankin's day, used to have X-rays in, dude, this is cardboard, okay? This is a cardboard folder. You can see it's made by Kodak. So it's like, this was a legit way that we recorded it. It has a super fancy, secure latch here. Oh yeah. Open this up, and inside you'll notice that it's lined in black paper, and it had like a little envelope. And what we would do is we would go in the dark room and we would load a blank film. This is process film, but nonetheless, we'd throw that in there. And I did not do this, you guys, okay? So I'm like, this is way before my time. And then you would literally just latch it and then you'd be good to go. So in order to take an X-ray on regular film screen, you were using a crazy amount of technique. So I'm gonna be making this up, right? These are not real numbers. But if I were to do like a hand X-ray on this cardboard cassette, I was using, let's say, 20 mass. Remember, mass is the number of X-ray balls that I'm chucking at the person. So the more mass, the more dose, directly related. 20 mass for a hand X-ray, remember, that's just one of the 3 pictures you're gonna take, meaning that they're gonna get 60 mass over the entire series. So this is the original way that we recorded X-rays, way before my time. Definitely not very efficient. It was basically kind of like a Polaroid. What you shot is what you got. Then they got smart and they came up with film screen. So film screen had what's known as an intensifying screen inside. So this white part right here actually would glow. So X-ray is an indirect process. We take X-ray and it's going to be from electrons going through thermionic emission, creating a lot of heat. Eventually it becomes X-ray through Bremsen characteristic. There's a video on that. You can check those out. And then when those X-ray photons hit the cassette, what it would do is it would actually glow, and this glowing would be recorded on my film. And then I'd run this through the film processor, same way as I did with this one. We would have different size cassettes. I'm gonna actually do a quick experiment with y'all, and we're gonna make X-ray visible. So obviously you guys know we can't see X-ray, you can't feel X-ray, but I'm gonna make it glow and we're gonna see that, so it'll be really cool. All right, so we're gonna do our experiment. So I have just that film screen cassette laid out, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna expose it to a long amount of radiation. We're gonna actually see it glow. It's gonna be super cool. So if we come back behind the control panel, we're gonna be taking an exposure at 4 seconds. So keep an eye on the cassette. Now that it went dark, we can go. This is gonna be so cool. Pretty cool, right? I love that. I think it's so cool. Again, you can't feel X-ray, but it's an indirect process, so it's going to be turning X-ray into light first, and so that image intensifying screen is fluorescing, and that's what we're actually seeing, which is really cool. So I told you that on that cardboard cassette, I was using totally made up number of 20 mass for my X-ray technique. When we went to film screen, we're able to use that light. We're able to use less X-ray, so now I'm down to say 10 mass for an X-ray hand. Again, I'm totally making up these numbers. These aren't real techniques, but pretty close actually. So on film screen, I was using 10 mass for an X-ray of the hand. Remember, it's 3 pictures. So now I'm using 30 mass instead of 60 mass that I used on the cardboard cassette. Fast forward to all the way to the 80s, right? So in the 80s, we switched to CR, computed radiography, or photostimulatable phosphor radiography. With this, I'm gonna open it, even though I shouldn't. It's gonna be fine, I'll erase it later. Inside of here, it also had an intensifying screen, but then this part right here is known as the photostimulatable phosphor plate. This thing is the same as a regular piece of film. It's just able to be reused a quadrillion million times. So we would take our X-ray on here, and then it was a very similar process as that we would take the single cassette, go process it, and then come back to do the next picture with a new cassette. If I was using 20 on here, 10 on here, when I switched to CR, I was bringing my mass down to 5. Okay, so I'm really going down in how much technique I need, because it's needing less and less technique to amplify and to make it look like it received 20 mass like the original picture because of the intensifying screens. We have different sizes again with CR. Again, CR is mostly outdated by now. Some of you might still be using it. I still use it at the hospital that I work at. I hate it, but I still work with it. And I'm gonna show you what that processor looks like here really quick. Okay, so with CR, right, we are recording our picture on here, and then remember I showed you that photostimulable phosphor plate inside of here? What I'm gonna do to process this and to see what's known as a latent image, the image that's stored on here, but we haven't manifested it into an actual image yet, is I would put it into my reader. You have to make sure that you put it all the way to the right and make sure that it goes the right side up. And then you would shove it in. I'm not gonna actually do that. But what it would do is it's going to open up this cassette just like I showed you. It's going to use rollers to actually grab this PSP plate. It'll pull it out. It'll expose it to a red laser, neon laser. You guys need to know all this someday. We don't need to know it now, but someday. And it'll go across it in a raster pattern, which is just how we read. It's a big kid word for that. Just left corner to right corner down, left corner to right corner down. Then the red neon laser is going to produce a blue-violet light that is going to be captured by what's known as a photomultiplier. The photomultiplier is going to capture it, put it to the ADC, analog to digital converter, eventually becomes a digital signal, and boom, we have a picture. Okay, do we need to know all of that today? No. Someday, before you graduate, you will. And I will go more into CR in another video. After all of that, with the laser, it's going to be exposed to white light, just like this white light right now. And so I'm actually right now erasing part of what I've been doing to this cassette. And then it'll put the PSP plate back in here, close it up, and then it will kick the cassette out. So that's how CR works. Still a little bit slow, but huge difference. Now what we have is known as a soft copy. It's a digital copy of our X-ray. So before, on both the cardboard and the film screen, it was like a Polaroid. I had one picture and that was it. If the trauma doctor needed to see that X-ray, I had to literally carry that one picture to the trauma doctor. Now, 18 people could be looking at the same picture as long as we're all on the same software. So definitely has a perk. So CR is pretty cool, but also it can be better, right? And that's when we get into our digital plates. So digital DR, also known as flat panel image receptors. I don't call it that, but that's what my book calls it. Most of us just call it DR. DR is a plate that has photocells inside of it, DELs, right? Detector elements. And so basically pixels. There's a battery pack on the back, but notice that there's no way that I can pull, there's nothing in here that actually comes out like the PSP plate or the film or anything. This is reusable a million times. As soon as the X-ray hits the cassette, again, it's usually going to be an indirect process and turn into light, and then it's going to hit Morpheus silicon and all that. We're not going to get into that because that's up here. We're here, and that's okay. But eventually, it's going to be hit an analog to digital converter, and it will become a digital image. That takes like 3 seconds. So when we take our X-rays on here, it immediately shows up on our monitor, and then we're able to see if we like the picture, if the hand is turned up enough for the oblique, or if we need to turn it a little bit more, we can fix it. If I was using 20 mass on the cardboard cassette, and then I got to 10 mass on a single picture on the film screen, and then I got to 5 mass on CR, DR, this is where it gets really exciting, right? What are we using? Anywhere from a fraction of a mass to like maybe 2 mass for a hand X-ray. So now I'm using, at where I work, I use 0.7 mass on a hand X-ray. So if I was using 60 mass on cardboard back in the early 1900s, I'm now using like 2.5 mass total for a hand X-ray. So that, my friends, is why X-rays continue to advance. We're just getting more and more sensitive X-ray systems, right? When a new phone comes out, right, most of the time, the camera is what sells y'all on getting a new camera, a new phone. And it really is just that it's gotten more advanced. The pixels have become smaller and it's able to pick up better spatial resolution. That's what we're doing here, is we're just cleaning up how it's able to record what it receives and actually make an image out of it.